Thousands of people around the world are learning how extra money can be made from home at Online Trading Academy. Learn about stocks, options, futures, and Forex. Here's a trading tip from one of the instructors.
You see what we've done at the Academy? We've taken this and we've simplified it down to just the basic factors that you need. There's a set of rules, follow them. There's a scoring system. If it scores greater than 7, take the trade. Set the trade up, walk away and forget it with 3 major components: a stop, an entry, and a target. If you don't know what those mean, come in, we'll teach you those.
Online Trading Academy. Learn the right way to trade stocks and more. Thousands have learned how extra money can be made from home and how risk is limited. See how it works. Reserve a pair of seats at a free half-day class in Broward and Palm Beach. Call now. Online Trading Academy, 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800. That's 561-674-9800.
Are you looking for short-term inpatient rehabilitation or long-term care placement for yourself or a loved one after illness or injury? Whitehall Boca Raton Skilled Nursing and Rehab Facility has served South Florida for over 35 years. With care and oversight from our experienced physicians, Whitehall Boca Raton offers specialized comprehensive nursing and rehab programs in neurological, orthopedic, cardiac, pulmonary, and post-operative surgical care and outpatient therapy provided by our highly experienced nurses and therapists. While recovering, you will receive 24-hour licensed nursing care along with dietary and nutrition services. We accept Medicare and other major insurances. Come see the Whitehall Boca Raton difference. Call 561-392-3000 for more information or to schedule a tour with our admissions team, and we will answer any one of your questions. You can also visit our website at whitehallboca.com. For more information, call 561-392-3000. That's 561-392-3000. Whitehall Boca Raton is committed to provide you with the best medical care.
Talk here. Talk there. Talk 1470 AM and 95.3 FM. The Health and Wealth Radio Network. WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Do you have a hot new business or an established business that offers great and unique services or products that you want to get the word out? Are you looking to grow your business and you want everyone to hear the buzz about it? Do you have an amazing project or an idea that impacts our community that you want to share and get others involved in? Then you've come to the right place. You're listening to Community Connections with Norma G. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero, and I want to share our passions while connecting with our community. So now let's get ready to hear about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening on Community Connections with Norma G. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Meditating on it, so it just happens. Welcome back to Community Connections. I'm your host, Norma Guerrero, and today is Monday, October 30th. I want to thank you all for returning and listening to the show. You are listening to us, as always, on 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, which is the WNN Health and Wealth Network, locally here in South Florida through the Beasley Media Group. And we are airing live stream right now on my Facebook page at Community Connections with Norma G. So if you want to watch the show or watch it in replay later, you can go to the page and watch it. We're also streaming on Periscope at AMP2 TV Productions, as well as you can find the archives on YouTube, as well as you can go to my website, www.ccnormag.com, or you can reach out to me as well, either their email or phone number. But I want to go ahead and introduce the different guests that I'm going to have today on the show. We have a very, very interesting show today, and we're going to be having on a returning guest, Mike Zanardelli with 7.2. You've all heard him a couple times. He's the health and wellness expert coach, and he's going to be talking about the alkaline nutrition supplements that he has with the greens and the protein. And today we're going to be highlighting the alkaline boosters, which help with, you take this pill at night and it helps bring your acidity back into a little more towards neutral after you eat and drink what you eat during the day. So he's going to be explaining that, as well as he's going to be sharing some big news that's happening with the 7.2 company. And so we're excited to get an update with that. And so we're also going to be sharing about, today is, there's one more day left with the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so October, as you all know, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so I have a very, very dear friend who has a personal story that she's going to share with us today. And so I'm going to go ahead and introduce her now. Her name is Melanie Petulat. Is that
Petulat.
Petulat. And where's that from?
Well, it's my married name, and it's actually, I believe it's Russian-Lithuanian.
Okay, it's your married name. Okay, well, Melanie, so glad to have you here today in the studio.
Thank you. I'm
And
excited to be here.
You look lovely.
Thank
you look
you.
beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
so the reason why we have Melanie here today is because Melanie has a personal story of a bout of breast cancer that she went through this year. And in light of it being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and then her and I speaking over this past month, we decided that she was ready to share her story because I feel that it's really, really informative, educational, and it really, really explains to you the importance of early detection. Because in this particular case, she had a very positive outcome, but it's still amazing what someone has to go through when they get that diagnosis. And so, Melanie, I want to thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story with us.
Absolutely.
And so how are you feeling?
I feel great. Sometimes I forget I even had cancer and everything I went through because it was just such a whirlwind, and I feel good,
Good. And so your story kind of starts when did you all right, what do? We go to our annual, pap smears, our annual mammograms and stuff. And so were you doing that? Were you the type of person that did that?
Yeah. My gynecologist, he actually delivered my daughter, and I've gone to him, other than a couple years, I've been going to him for 22 years. So nobody else but Dr. Handel. So I went and saw him in January of 2016. He ordered my usual mammogram. I had cystic breast years ago, and he started my mammograms kind of early. But also ultrasounds because I had dense breast. So he orders everything as usual, and because I had this crappy insurance, it was a Humana HMOX. As usual, I would go down to Diagnostic Centers of America, and they wouldn't go ahead and give me the ultrasound, just the mammogram. Sure enough, 10 or 12 days later, Dr. Handel's office called me and said, well, Dr. Handel, got your mammogram results, everything looks fine, but because of the dense tissue, you need to go get your ultrasound.
So I want to stop you right there, just because when Melanie told me her story, she used different types of words that, I've heard of, and I just didn't necessarily know the definition of. And so for some people, the word dense tissue. And so when they see a high density of tissue, that's when they may refer you for an ultrasound.
Right.
Not just kind of say mammogram negative, go out, see you in a year.
Because they can't see everything.
So they order an ultrasound.
Right.
Okay. So you went.
So I went, and this has happened in the past. It depends on the type of insurance you have, if you have to get a referral or not. So sure enough, I call, and I called Diagnostic Centers of America, and yes, you definitely have to have a referral. So now I have to go to my primary, which I really didn't have one because I had, again, not so great insurance. So I screwed around and finally got it done, I think, in October of that year.
Yeah, I have here. You finally got the ultrasound. Yes, October.
Right. I actually went to the doctor for I think, a sick visit. And I said, oh, while I'm here, can you go ahead and get me that referral? So
how did the ultrasound come back?
Well, when I got there, he sent me to a different place than I would have normally gone. He sent me to this place called Elite Imaging, and it was fine. I went in. I saw that she was, focused on one area for a while. I didn't get my results back for 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
And I remember exactly when it was, only because it was right around October 7th. It's right when Hurricane Matthew hit, because they were boarding things up. They didn't call me from my primary, who I won't mention his name, until the week before Thanksgiving. And they called and said, oh, you have some abnormality in your ultrasound. Dr. So-and-so wants to see you. I'm like, oh my gosh. They said, make an appointment. Well, I was busy. It was open enrollment. It was very, very busy. I went in a couple days later, and I think it was like a day later, and he said to me, well, we found something, but it's just very small, and it's the size of, I wish I remember the centimeter, but it's common. We just want to keep an eye on it and check it again in 6 months. So I called my gynecologist, and they said, yeah, that's probably what we'd recommend as well. So the timing would have been right for me to wait for the next, year. Well, in the meantime, at the end of 2017, 16, because I was selling insurance, I got myself a nice PPO, and I didn't have to go through that.
Because you kind of knew maybe down the road you may have, well, I guess you didn't really know then. Did you think something in the back of your mind?
I was worried when they said that I needed a follow-up in 6 months. But, everyone sort of eased my mind that, this is common, no big deal, just we don't see if it grows. So what happens is the first week of February of 2017, I go in for my
That's
annual.
this year.
So I go in for my annual, and Dr. Handel, I'm talking about these films. And he's like, just go ahead. He's like, I'm going to write you, because of your age, I'm going to go ahead and write you, your mammogram, your ultrasound, and a transvaginal ultrasound. He'd never done one of those before. I said, okay, great. So next day I called Diagnostic Centers of America, and they couldn't schedule all 3 of those appointments together till the end of March. Okay, what's another 2 or 3 weeks?
Right, because you want to just get them all done in one day.
Right.
So you wait, okay.
So March 29th, it was a Wednesday. I got there bright and early. They did the transvaginal, bing, bang, boom. A little bit of a wait, did the mammogram pretty quick. And then between the mammogram and the ultrasound, I had to wait for like an hour. And it was freezing cold in there,
Yeah.
So when I got on the table, I started to tell the girl about, what they had seen at this Elite Imaging. And she said...
During the ultrasound.
So she got on this area, which was right here, and she stayed and stayed and stayed. I'm already like nervous, and so I keep asking her, and then there was another couple areas she was on for a long time. I was like, "Do you see something?"
And when you go into those ultrasounds, they're usually pretty stoic. Not that they're stoic people, but they're pretty stoic because they're not supposed to kind of, show a lot of expression,
Right?
Because they know it's the doctors that are supposed to.
Well, when I tell you it was cold, they've got the warm gel on you, but you've got like the whatever gown on. I was literally convulsing because I started getting nervous because she saw that I was freaked out. I broke her down. She told me. She says, okay, you need to calm down. Just relax. We need to finish this up, but you're probably going to need a biopsy. I was like, wow. I mean, I completely, lost my mind.
Right.
So I got out of there. Actually, she told me, no, don't leave. Someone's going to read this. That's what was the holdup before. They read it right there. So she's like, I'm going to get, them to fax in whatever they need to, your gynecologist, so on and so forth. So I get out of there, and I call my boyfriend. I call my sister. I call a couple of my friends. I call my ex-husband. I'm like, just a total mess. And then I go to call my gyno, and I realized it was the lunch hour. So I'm like, so I go over to Elite Imaging. It was really scary. But then, I finally got a hold of my gynecologist, and Dr. Handel's main girl, Dale, said to me, Melanie, calm down. I'm going to hang up the phone, and I'm not going to make any other calls until I call Dr. Coletta. They are the best of the best. It's like we're having a whole team of doctors. They take your films, they compare them, and she really eased my mind. And sure enough, within an hour, they had called me, and the very next day, I had an appointment scheduled.
For the biopsy?
No, for the meeting.
Oh, okay. So you met with Dr. Coletta before they do the biopsy?
And the first thing he said to me, so one of my best friends, Michelle, came with me. And interestingly enough, she had just been in his office a couple months before, not even with her sister-in-law for the same thing. Her sister-in-law's a nurse there. So, he noticed her and thought it was weird. And then he looks at me and says, so what's the big emergency here? And I was like, well, I got this thing. And he says, well, let me tell you what I'm looking at here. I've looked at your films, and what you have is very, very small. There's a very, very good chance that it's benign, and you probably you won't need treatment. I do, have to do a biopsy. You actually have 2. I didn't even know that I had 2. There's one on your left, and he kind of explained the areas, explained the procedure, but he was very calming. And he said the size of this thing, from what it was in October, because he was looking at Elite Imaging's films and Diagnostic Centers of America, he told me this amount. He was like minute. So I was like, okay, well, that's good news.
So Dr. Coletta works at a Boca Raton Regional Hospital here in East Boca. And so when did you get the biopsy? It looks like a couple days later.
Yes, so what happened was how did that go? Yeah, so that was a Thursday. The next Wednesday, I get the biopsy. It was really scary, but, they're so professional. In the bedside manner over there. Does it hurt? A little bit. What they do is kind of like, how they numb you before they drill you in your teeth? It's a similar thing.
Like a Novocaine?
So they numb both spots. This one was pretty deep. So he's like, okay, you'll feel it's like a bee sting. You feel, the numbingness. And then we're going to go deeper, so you feel the pressure. And then, then they go in there and start, they vacuum out.
Sure. So you did the biopsy, and then how long does it take for them to get results?
Well, he said to me before the procedure that morning that I read the pathology on Tuesdays, come back next Tuesday. So now this is Wednesday afternoon. I go home. I'm moving and grooving the next day, feel fine, a little tender here and there. That evening, Thursday, the day after all this went down, I was at Houston's in Boca waiting on my daughter to get done with basketball. I was talking to this nice couple. I look down and my phone's ringing. It says Dr. Coletta. It's 7:15 at night. I'm thinking, that's quick. Hello? So he's like, hi, he's got this very mild manner. And he says, Melanie, well, the results of your pathology came back. I'm like, already? I thought it wasn't coming in until Tuesday. And he's like, well, most people, want to know. I'm like, oh, yeah. He's like, well, and he was just so calm. He says, well, the one on your left side is a benign human papilloma. Papilloma. But your right side, and he just kind of paused. He says, it is invasive ductal carcinoma malignant. And I was like, oh, my God.
And that's the thing, is that when you hear these words...
It was scary.
It's scary.
You're like, oh, my God. And I'm, now I'm like, I got to go pick up my daughter. And so I'm like in the parking lot of Houston's. Now I'm, again, calling my boyfriend, calling my ex-husband.
Freaking out.
Calling my sister.
Not freaking out, but just like you're freaking out.
Oh, yeah, I was freaking out.
You were freaking out.
Yeah.
Well, that's everyone's kind of worst nightmare, to get that call.
Mm-hmm.
And because you don't know what it entails, because your mind already thinks worst case scenario. Is that, you think, what happens a little bit?
He again said, listen, this is going to be treatable. We have to get some other pathology back. I think at that point, see, this is where it all becomes a blur, because there was so much pathology and so many tests that were done next. He basically told me, so what you're going to do next is we're going to schedule you for what's called a multiple modality meeting.
Right. And so actually, before we get into that, I actually want to just take a moment and just kind of read a little bit about what exactly a human papilloma is. Mm-hmm. Because I think it's important for people to, that's what I found was, of course, her story is interesting, there's no doubt. But it's when these words, I myself, I do rehabilitation. And so, but I don't necessarily come across, breast cancer patients don't necessarily need inpatient rehab, what I'm accustomed to seeing. And
Sure.
so a papilloma is a benign growth that occurs in breast ducts. Do not worry. I got this from the internet. A papilloma itself is benign. However, if papillomas appear in multiples, this may be risk for the development of breast cancer. Papillomas tend to develop in women aged 35 to 55 in age. The other thing was, a lot of people think of papilloma when they think of human papilloma virus, HPV. Mm-hmm. And is breast papilloma the same as... No, they are not related to HPV, so it's totally completely different. Exactly. The other one's another, I believe, it's some sort of genital kind of related to that area of disease. And so, as far as getting into invasive ductal carcinoma, what that means specifically, so that I wanted to represent the medical community a little bit clearer. IDC, invasive ductal carcinoma, also known as infiltrating ductal carcinoma, is the most common type of breast cancer. It is a cancer that begins growth in the duct, and it's invaded the fatty tissue of the breast outside of the duct. It's the most common form of breast cancer, representing 80% of all breast cancers diagnoses. The ductal means that the cancer began in the milk ducts, which are the pipes that carry the milk from the milk producing the lobules in the nipple. And so it seems as if the cancer, those cells, they get stuck in that area, and it can't flush itself out.
Sure.
And so the cancer's invaded the spread of the surrounding breast tissue. According to the American Cancer Society, more than 180,000 women in the United States find out they have invasive breast cancer each year. Most often they are diagnosed with this. It is most common. Well, it affects men as well. And so what are the causes of it? It says that it's genetic mutations occur in the DNA, the breast duct cells. And so it's just really interesting that particular carcinoma it's very treatable. As you mentioned to me many times, it's very treatable. And that's kind of the next step of your journey. And so I want to get into that, as far as I know that Melanie went through a plethora of a bunch of different tests in order to figure out how, when they're staging cancer, how serious it was. And so I found that interesting as well. And so I'm going to take a moment and just take a quick little break right now. I want to thank take a moment and thank the sponsor of our show, Whitehall Boca Raton. They're a skilled nursing and rehab facility that offers physical therapy, occupational therapy, and skilled nursing services that after an injury or illness, they can help you recover and get back home. They're located in West Boca Raton at 7300 Del Prado Circle South, and they can be reached at 561-392-3000, where you can schedule a tour to see if that's a place where you can help your family rehabilitate. I also want to thank Toastmasters, as well as Paul Stephen Photography, which they've been here on the show many times talking about the benefits of leadership and communication skills. And Paul Stephen can be found at Paul Stephen Photography or Mobile Portrait Studios can be found at, where can they be found, Paul? MobilePortraitPros.com. And he does executive headshots to help get your headshots ready for your business. And so we're going to be having Paul back on the show shortly. And so we're going to come back and talk a little bit more with Melanie. We'll be right back.
Do you suffer from back, joint, or muscle soreness? Recovery with HydroFX is the doctor-recommended all-natural solution you've been looking for. Now, available in the U.S., Recovery with HydroFX is a specialized product for headaches, back, joint, and muscle soreness. Get back to feeling great today and order your 30-day supply of Recovery with HydroFX. Call 1-800-994-5361 and take advantage of this limited radio offer. That's 1-800-994-5361. Are you having trouble sleeping or staying asleep? Feel like you've tried everything and nothing works? Studies show if we are out of balance or too acidic, it can directly affect our sleep. Now, a new doctor-formulated solution is available directly to you. Alkaline Boosters is a fast and natural way to get a restful night's sleep. Take advantage of this promotional offer to buy your Alkaline Boosters today and start sleeping better tomorrow. Call 1-800-994-5361. That's 1-800-994-5361.
Are you looking for short-term inpatient rehabilitation or long-term care placement for yourself or a loved one after illness or injury? Whitehall Boca Raton Skilled Nursing and Rehab Facility has served South Florida for over 35 years. With care and oversight from our experienced physicians, Whitehall Boca Raton offers specialized comprehensive nursing and rehab programs in neurological, orthopedic, cardiac, pulmonary, and post-operative surgical care and outpatient therapy provided by our highly experienced nurses and therapists. While recovering, you will receive 24-hour licensed nursing care along with dietary and nutrition services. We accept Medicare and other major insurances. Come see the Whitehall Boca Raton difference. Call 561-392-3000 for more information or to schedule a tour with our admissions team, and we will answer any one of your questions. You can also visit our website at whitehallboca.com. For more information, call 561-392-3000. That's 561-392-3000. Whitehall Boca Raton is committed to provide you with the best medical care.
Thank you for listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We're the place where we talk about your business, a product, an idea, or a project to get the word out to our community. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero. Today we are sharing our passions while connecting with our community. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Don't forget to tune in every Monday night at 5 to 6 p.m. to join me, Norma G., and our guests to find out about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Can't wait to see you there. Now let's rejoin the show. Welcome back to Community Connections. I'm your host, Norma Guerrero, and you're listening to us on 95.3 FM and 1470 AM here locally in South Florida, and we are streaming live here on Community Connections with Norma G. on Facebook, and we are talking to Melanie Petulat. Petulat. Sorry, I don't get that Romanian, Lithuanian. What did you say? Something like that. So either way, you're from Oklahoma, right?
Yes, my maiden name is Ryan, which is actually my daughter's name.
That's pretty easy. And you're a mom?
Yes, I am.
Right. And how old's your daughter?
She'll be 14 in like a week.
She's 14.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so she's in middle school,
is she in eighth grade? Eighth grade.
Okay, in eighth grade. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you get this diagnosis that like you said, you started freaking out. And you have to share this information at some point with your daughter. Mm-hmm. And how did you walk through that, Melanie?
Well, that was pretty easy because I knew, just based on what Dr. Coletta was telling me, even from the get-go, this is treatable. This is tiny. Chances are we caught this very early because it is so little. So the one thing I wanted to stress to her was we had just lost my stepfather. I guess that would have been March of 15 to mesothelioma.
Cancer.
Yes, very aggressive mesothelioma. He had got diagnosed with 6 months to a year to live, and sure enough, he lived 9 months, and none of us could even believe it because it happened so quick. So that was traumatic for her because it was like, her grandpa.
So you wanted to try and maybe calm her that she didn't think that it was the same scenario as her
Right.
grandfather.
I explained. I said, this is something very treatable, very common, very tiny. That was stage 4 when they caught it. It's a nasty, almost untreatable cancer where he had it. So that's what I did. I dumbed it down and made it seem like, this is all going to be fine.
Did you tell her before? So we're going to get into this slew of testing that you had done after you got the positive result from the. Did you tell her before or after?
I think it was because the pathology came back so quick. I don't remember exactly, but I want to say Dr. Coletta let me know that very night when he told me.
And you let her know?
I think I let her know that day or the next day.
Sure.
And she's handled it well. She's tough. I think she was a little freaked out at first, but she saw how strong I was. I just kind of moved through the motions.
And what do you do for work, Melanie? As far as I know, you have a couple different.
Well, I've been a local bartender for 23 years. I worked 2 nights at a restaurant downtown called Frankandino's. So I have a lot of friends in the downtown area that all kind of knew what was going on. And then I sell insurance, health, life, critical illness, which I want to touch on how important that is to have.
Which insurance company?
It's called Insurance Care Now.
Okay.
And we help people find, everything from dental, vision, accidental, their health insurance. We have final expense policies. So it's an array of things.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end. And so what are the different types of tests that the doctors have to do prior to, when he says you have this positive biopsy, what do you say to him? Do I need surgery? Do I need radiation? Do I need chemotherapy? Do you start asking all those questions?
No. Basically what he's told me was, the good news is this is showing PR and ER positive. I said, what's that? Progesterone and estrogen positive, which is a good thing. It means that those types of cancer respond well to hormone therapy, which now I'm on tamoxifen. But at that time, he also said there's several other tests that need to come back. One of them is called the HER2. And that's a type of protein. I was just reading about it today because you'd asked me what it was, and I never really knew. All I knew was I got the good result. That took 10 days to come back, though.
That took 10 days. And the HER is the human epidural growth factor receptor 2. It's a protein that appears on the surface of some breast cancer cells. The HER2 protein is an important part of the pathway for cell growth and survival. So that's not a good thing.
No.
We don't want cell growth and survival. HER2 negative breast cancers have little or no HER2 protein. And your HER2 was
negative.
Exactly. So that's good news.
Right. So that was great. Then it was probably about a week later I went in to talk to him about the actual surgery. I had what was called, again, the multiple modality meeting. That was across, so there's the women's, the Women's Wellness and whatever Institute. And it's a big, beautiful building. I mean, the place is just amazing. And then just across the way is the Lynn Cancer Institute. And in that building, I met my oncologist, which was Dr. Tay. She just kind of let me know you're probably going to be on tamoxifen and you'll see me forever or for a long time. I met my radiologist, Dr. Golden, and they all just had the best bedside manner, and their nurses, they were also sweet and everything. And he explained, a lot. He was very statistical on why I need radiation because I was kind of struggling with that. And then there's Dr. Louise Morel, and she's this Morgan Brussels human genetics specialist oncologist lady, and she goes over all the risks with you. And one of the things is the human BRCA gene, and that's the thing that Angelina Jolie had, that she opted to do a double mastectomy, voluntarily, and get her, I think she had a full hysterectomy or something along those lines.
Okay.
I really don't know, but...
And you got tested for that as well?
Yeah, I was right on the cusp of not needing to do that, but if you test positive for that, you got to just do it all.
You just got to do it all. And so the BRCA
came back negative.
Gene mutation testing can give several possible results. A positive result, a negative, or ambiguous result. A positive test result means that you have a mutation in one of the breast cancer genes, therefore a much higher risk of developing breast cancer. And you came back
negative.
Negative.
And she thought that all along. She said, I didn't understand what she meant by, you're almost at the cutoff where we wouldn't test for that. So I didn't really understand why. But anyway, that took almost 2 weeks, and that was very nerve-wracking. That was like, you thought about that all the time.
Right, you're thinking about it all the time. And I think that I remember when you told me that you went in there, when you go into the doctor, you were thinking, you know what, I don't want to deal with this. Let's just do the whole thing. And it's when the doctors give you these tests and then you start to get these negatives or positive, depending on how it works for them, you realized that you didn't have to go to get a radical mastectomy.
Right. There was a couple other things. So first off, I had a 8% growth rate, and Dr. Coletta says, "Oh, we like to see under 10%. You're an 8%. That's good." I go, "What's that mean?" He's like, "Well, precisely what I told you." He's like, "Let's put it this way: we see cancers growing at a 90% growth rate."
Yeah, and so we're talking from November to March, whenever all this happened. You only had an 8% growth rate.
I don't think it was measured in that time. I think they can just tell how quickly it's multiplying. It's so amazing what they can tell.
I'm wondering if it had gone over 10%, what would they have done?
I think, like he said, well, we see cancers that are spreading like wildfire, and they could be in the high 80s and 90%. So I really don't know. I didn't get that into it.
And the reason why I ask is because, why are we sharing this story? Many different reasons is because of the, when the doctor says come back in 6 months, should try and come back in 6 months because there is this growth rate issue that could potentially change. Because again, Melanie's story had a positive result so far because eventually, did you need surgery?
Well, yes. So then I had to go in for, we're kind of jumping all over the place, but the pathology that came back with some of these things was not just from the biopsy. I ended up having a lumpectomy. So they had to remove both. This was they took just the lump on the benign side. This one, they took one lymph node. Luckily, they were able to just do one incision. But when they took the lump, they took some tissue around it to perform more pathology on that. That took a little time to come back. But then my mom came into town for that, my sisters and my friends and my best friend AJ and my stepsister, my sister back in Oklahoma. They were all like, "Oh, you need to come down and take care of you." I was like, I don't know. I don't know what this radiation is going to do. I already knew I wasn't going to have chemo. So anyway, one of the struggles with the radiation was when I met with Dr. Morell, she explained to me, if you opt to do a double mastectomy and the pathology on your lymph nodes comes back benign, you don't have to do anything else probably. But if it has spread to your lymph nodes, then you will still have to do chemo. And so I was like, well, maybe we should just cut them off and get it over with.
So even after you have all these good kind of results back from this testing, you do the surgery and they still do another pathology even after they wow.
Well, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
But my thing was like, why don't we just get it over with so I don't have to do radiation? And Dr. Coletta was like, again, what you have is treatable. There's risk involved. That's a major surgery, the healing. And what if you do cut them off and you still need radiation and chemo? Because it did spread to your lymph node. So he, was that sound of reason, like you don't have to do this radical thing.
Yeah, because, the lymph nodes, they carry the circulatory system into their bloodstream. And so when it gets into your lymph nodes, that's when people have issues with spreading, with it spreading, with metastasizing. And so fortunately, that has not happened in this occurrence.
Yeah.
And so you get the surgery, and what's the next step?
I got the surgery. It was the Monday before Mother's Day because my mom had to leave town the Saturday before Mother's Day. So I think it was like May 8th, and then I started my radiation the first week of June. No, middle of June, doesn't matter. 33 treatments, 5 days a week, every day. So that was a little taxing. But again, Dr. Golden and his nurse Jackie, they were amazing. Jackie would check in with me every 4 or 5 days. How you feeling? I burned. I'm still kind of not 100% there. But, they made sure I had all the right creams. She stressed staying active. She stressed staying hydrated, because it really takes a lot out of you. And the first week I remember thinking, God, I'm already got fatigue. I was scared of having the fatigue. And, I was just so busy with my daughter, being summertime and working. The bar I worked in had moved. And, summertime usually is slow. And we were slammed and just busy and, So
I remember going in and seeing you over the summer, and she works behind this bar in the evenings a couple nights a week, and you got to reach up high.
Yeah. That was awkward there for a bit.
And you got to reach up very high, and so I imagine that was a little bit uncomfortable. How is it now?
It's numb there, and I just started working out again. I mentioned in my Facebook post to a few of my friends that I was going to talk about the nutritional side of things that I'm doing too. I'm taking really good care of myself now. There was a lot of stress during that time, so I wasn't eating perfect. But now I'm like, I'm on a cleanse. I'm taking all my good supplements. One of the supplements I love, I went down to this guy in Pompano. He's a chiropractor, and he has really high-end supplements. Well, I went to get his aloe vera cream to use as one of the creams. And his wife said, I said, yeah, is that really good for the healing of the burning? She's like, yeah, but our ingestible one is good too. And I tried that in the past. It's really kind of hard to drink at first, but
Sure.
I actually love it now. And she's like, it's so hydrating. And I started drinking this stuff, and 5 days into it, my skin was glowing. So I really think it protected.
You think it's, while you were getting the radiation?
It's one of the supplements now I say I can't live without. It's a little pricey, but it really makes a difference.
And you're, and so now you have to be on tamoxifen?
Yes, I do. 5 to 10 years, depending on when I go into menopause. There are some risks with that, a little freaky. I just saw Dr. Tay the other day. But I told you I went to the Go Pink luncheon. And it was
Which
fun.
was at the Boca Resort a couple weeks ago.
So one of my best friends called me and says, Andrea's got an extra ticket to the breast cancer awareness, big Go Pink luncheon. We go every year. It's so beautiful. You should come. I'm like, I just started back to work. I'm really busy. She's like, you should do it. So we got all dressed up and we went. And as I'm walking in, I see my oncologist. Oh, there she is. It's my oncologist. Oh, well, they were all there.
Dr. Tay?
Yeah, Dr. Tay. Dr. Coletta presented. His wife, Dr. Schilling, who's a big to-do. Dr. Morell gave a beautiful speech. She's the Morgan, whatever, human genomic testing. She talked a lot about all these different risk factors and everything. But then the head speaker was Joan London, and she was just fabulous. I mean, just such an eloquent speaker.
And she went through a bout of cancer.
She did. And what was so interesting was her big message was, number one, and this was something that happened to me, and I can only imagine to most people, she didn't have any in her family. So she never thought that she would have any way, shape, or form, this. But the main thing was her doctor never ordered her an ultrasound. So she didn't, I can't remember exactly how the story went. She wrote a whole book on it. But her big push is that whole breast density awareness because, Dr. Handel
getting an ultrasound.
Always
getting
on
an
it
ultrasound.
with me. Yeah.
When you shared the story with me on the phone, Melanie, I wanted to respectfully, because I have to do a header for the show and stuff, and I said, do you, because when we think of a breast cancer survivor, we think of people of, chemotherapy, they lose their hair, the whole thing. And I knew that you didn't go through that. But after hearing your story, you certainly went through a lot more than what I went through this year as far as medically. Right. And I said, do you consider yourself a survivor? Mm-hmm. And you shared the story that, when you were at this Boca Resort luncheon for Go Pink, what's it called?
Go Pink.
Go Pink. Mm. And you realized that you saw so many people that have went through so much more that you kind of didn't feel like, do I qualify? And I think we talked on the phone that we kind of, you realize that you do qualify because it's not, you're not comparing yourself because you went through surgery. You're now on a medication, an estrogen modulator medication. You had a biopsy, and
it's kind of hard not to compare yourself because I'm 44, but I think my friend in Oklahoma, Wendy, got it at 38, 39. I had two other good friends from high school, Jamie and Heather, that both battled like year-long battles. My sister's best friend, she's got a crazy rare cancer, So comparatively speaking, you almost feel like guilty that, nothing, I had a little scar and a little radiation. I got to be on this tamoxifen, but,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those things where you count your blessings, you feel fortunate. And, I think that oftentimes that also, taking care of, going to the doctor, doing breast examinations, following the doctor's orders, that, also you saying you're doing these cleanses, not that the cleanse can help prevent the cancer or anything like that, but certainly now you're on your road back to recovery, and that's why people are looking at you here today going, okay, she's saying she went through this a few months ago.
Right.
But you take care of yourself,
yes,
as well. And so, Melanie, tell me a little bit more about, your day job, because you got to take care of your daughter. Tell me quickly just Where is it? Where is it located? Or how do people contact you and reach out to you if they want to, get some insurance consultation from you?
Well, they can just, didn't you put my number and name on it?
It's up on the screen, but for those listening on the radio.
Oh, great. So I'll just give you my direct number. It's 561-809-7061. Company's called Insurance Care Now, but I have a funny story about that. So we have several policies. Some I like better than others. Some are for people that are really sick. Some people are for people that just don't qualify. But we had a Phoenix Life product come out back in January. And in the middle of March, I decided I wanted some because for my daughter, I have lots of term life insurance, but most of it's going to expire after 20 years. So in my mid-50s, you know what? I should get a whole life policy. What I love about the Phoenix Life was there's a critical illness rider. And so it's $50,000. So I bought a $50,000 policy. And in the event I ever got diagnosed with terminal illness, meaning less than 24 months to live, or a critical illness, you could cash in as a living benefit up to 95%.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what? This is worth it. And I need some whole life anyway, So that was the middle of March, right? So I got diagnosed I had the ultrasound on the 29th. So right at the end of my radiation, my boss, Bobby, calls me up. He says, hey, Mel, you got that Phoenix Life policy. He's like, you probably have a claim. I said, no, probably not. And, sure enough, I did some research. The type of cancer I have, because it is so highly treatable, I didn't have a claim. But I guarantee that I know 15 people I could just rattle off right now, including the girls I just mentioned from Oklahoma, my sister's friend. If they would have had that type of policy, they would have had $45,000. And I don't know anyone that couldn't use that during a time of heavy chemo and taking off work and,
Right.
So it's, it's something to think about.
The insurance company you work for, they can reach out to you at that number that you just mentioned.
Absolutely.
And as well as, if there's anybody that, they had a question for you, about, what she went through. And that's why I wanted to share her story today, because I feel that she's, just like it's just like me and you, at any moment. And I think that you have been, just stellar of how you've handled it. I know that, through other friends, I know when you first got diagnosed with it, they were very upset for you.
Oh, yeah.
And that, and now I see you and you look fantastic. And so I'm very happy. And so a shout out to Dr. Coletta and Dr. Tay and to everybody over there at the Lynn Cancer Institute and Boca Raton Regional Hospital for helping you.
Yeah.
And for helping you get through it. And so
you really felt like you were in good hands over there.
That's
for
fantastic.
Sure.
That's great to hear. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today, for sharing your story about breast cancer awareness. Go get your mammogram. I'm actually scheduled tomorrow for evening at the I usually do it in July. I got very busy this summer, so it was already on my list of things to do. And I've had the ultrasounds before, but they've never come back with the next step. And so
ask about your bone density. Ask about your breast density. You should know it. And that's one thing Joan London kept reiterating.
Your breast density?
Breast density.
Okay.
Find out.
And you can get that through just the ultrasound or the mammogram?
The mammogram should show
it. Okay, great. And so we're going to be coming back in a moment, talking with Mike Zanardelli with 7.2. And so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back with Community Connections.
Do you suffer from back, joint, or muscle soreness? Recovery with HydroFX is the doctor-recommended all-natural solution you've been looking for. Now, available in the U.S., Recovery with HydroFX is a specialized product for headaches, back, joint, and muscle soreness. Get back to feeling great today and order your 30-day supply of Recovery with HydroFX. Call 1-800-994-5361 and take advantage of this limited radio offer. That's 1-800-994-5361. Are you having trouble sleeping or staying asleep? Feel like you've tried everything and nothing works? Studies show if we are out of balance or too acidic, it can directly affect our sleep. Now, a new doctor-formulated solution is available directly to you. Alkaline Boosters is a fast and natural way to get a restful night's sleep. Take advantage of this promotional offer to buy your Alkaline Boosters today and start sleeping better tomorrow. Call 1-800-994-5361. That's 994-5361.
Are you looking for short-term inpatient rehabilitation or long-term care placement for yourself or a loved one after illness or injury? Whitehall Boca Raton Skilled Nursing and Rehab Facility has served South Florida for over 35 years. With care and oversight from our experienced physicians, Whitehall Boca Raton offers specialized comprehensive nursing and rehab programs in neurological, orthopedic, cardiac, pulmonary, and post-operative surgical care and outpatient therapy provided by our highly experienced nurses and therapists. While recovering, you will receive 24-hour licensed nursing care along with dietary and nutrition services. We accept Medicare and other major insurances. Come see the Whitehall Boca Raton difference. Call 561-392-3000 for more information or to schedule a tour with our admissions team, and we will answer any one of your questions. You can also visit our website at whitehallboca.com. For more information, call 561-392-3000. That's 561-392-3000. Whitehall Boca Raton is committed to provide you with the best medical care.
Thank you for listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We're the place where we talk about your business, a product, an idea, or a project to get the word out to our community. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero. Today we are sharing our passions while connecting with our community. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Don't forget to tune in every Monday night at 5 to 6 p.m. to join me, Norma G., and our guests to find out about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Can't wait to see you there. Now let's rejoin the show.
It's so exciting, you have no idea.
Welcome back to Community Connections, and I'm so excited to have Mike Zanardelli back in the studio. Hi, Mike.
How are you? It's always good to be here.
It's great. And so Mike Zanardelli is the health and wellness coach expert from 7.2, the alkaline company that we've had you on many times.
Yes.
And you've talked to us about your protein shake, your green shake, and your recovery with Hydro FX.
Yep.
And they're all products to help you restore your body and back to an alkaline level, because many of the foods that we eat are very, very acidic, and all those acidic foods can make us lethargic, weak, tired. And these products, which I can attest to because I drink them all the time, and I'm not just saying that, I do drink them ever since I met him in March. I've been drinking them, and I have sustained, prolonged mental clarity during my day. And so I continue to be a fan. And so, Mike, today we are this is our fourth segment, where we decided to just do individual segments about his products. First, we did the vanilla and chocolate protein shake, which has 26 grams, 21 grams of protein in it. Then we did the greens, which is, what's the benefit of those greens?
Well, they're actually created to raw standards, so they're still live with enzymes, and they give you a full serving of your vegetables for the day with one scoop.
Exactly, because we often don't get all of our veggies during the day. I try to do my best to eat properly. But when you're on the go, sometimes that supplement helps you, as you say, get that deposit in, so that way you make sure that you don't go a day without the deposit.
Right.
So that's what I like about it, because sometimes that happens. It even happens in my financial life a little bit sometimes too. And then we had the the recovery with Hydro FX,
Correct.
which is an anti-inflammatory antioxidant.
It is. It's a selective antioxidant.
Okay. And so we have videos of that up on my page. I have a page at Norma G 7.2 that you can look at those videos. As well as today we're going to move on to one of their fourth products, the Alkaline Booster.
Yep.
And so, Mike, tell me about that.
Alkaline Booster is really it's that extra deposit you need at the end of the day. The majority of the choices that we have for foods throughout our day are going to be acidic. So it's that wine, that bread, that cheese, that meat, the beer, the sweets, everything is going to pull our body to an acid state.
Those aren't good for you?
No. And stress is the number one acidifier.
It's my favorite foods, though.
They are for most people. So if you know that's happening during the day, what can we do to actually help your system kind of recover throughout the night? And that's something called the Alkaline Boosters. It's affectionately called the Hall Pass. So we have a saying, it's like, if you're going to do the crime, you have to do the time. So we have a supplement that actually you can take at night. People that have digestive issues, it helps them out tremendously, especially if you have like a real big pasta meal and you know there's going to be a lot of sauce and you're going to drink wine. It's very acidic to the system. You can take that about an hour after. You're going to notice your system calms down a lot quicker. And what most people notice is that they sleep better than they've ever slept. And that's a big complaint with today. Most people say, I just can't sleep. I don't get my rest. I go to sleep or I continue to wake up. And what we found around the world is that people are taking that before they go to bed, and they sleep better than they've slept in a very long time, if not years. So for that product, it's a tremendous product, and really I can't go without it. You can even find if you have a real stressful day during the day, you can take that product during the day and you can feel your body kind of calm down. So I don't know if you've ever had that. You probably don't because you're like in this blissful state all the time, Norma. But if you ever have one of those days where you're really agitated about something, you can take it.
No,
and calm the system
I
down.
actually do. I'm a high energy person, but I actually do take time during my day, or even if it's just 20 minutes to bring myself down. I actually, especially do it even on Mondays before the show because I do a lot of preparation, and then I just want to clear my head. So that way, when I walk in here, and so. It's called the Hall Pass because it can actually help also a little bit if you have a little bit too much vino the night before.
No question about it. I mean, there's certainly times we know we are going out and there's going to be drinks. Whatever that drink might be, whether it's a hard alcohol or wine, again, very acidic to the system. And if you know it's going to be a long night, you can start with a couple, take them periodically, and then take them before you go to bed.
And it has these Himalayan crystal salts in it.
Correct.
And those are beneficial for...
Well, if you actually took the minerals from your blood, you'd have 84 minerals and trace elements. It happens to be the same exact makeup as Himalayan sea salt. And one of the things we don't get very much of because of the plants and the foods that we eat are deficient of minerals. By restoring minerals, it's very beneficial.
And, when you go to the website, that actually, what is your website exactly, Mike?
It's plantbasedph.com.
And a phone number to reach you if someone wanted to reach out to you?
1-800-995-5361. 994-5361.
And so you can go to each product, and in each product, there's actually a frequently asked questions,
yes,
ingredients, and all of those things. And so every time I'm preparing for the show, I actually do my own little homework, and that's how I learn things. And so what I found interesting is that, I work out and stuff, but I'm like not this like fanatical athlete, like up at that upper level. And I know you are more so. And so I found that people that work out, especially for like over an hour a day, they actually have a higher depletion of minerals.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that's what I read in one of those questions. And so this alkaline booster helps replenish those type of higher athlete, Olympian type of workouts. And so you said you do a lot of business with that clientele.
We actually do. I mean, you name the pro sport, we're involved with it now. And what's interesting, unlike most companies out there, we don't give our product away. They actually purchase it. It's kind of interesting because they have the choice to buy whatever they want, but when they find something that actually works, they stay with it. And a lot of our, especially hockey players, NHL hockey players, there's about 60 now that use it in the league. They use the alkaline boosters and the recovery prior to skate practice. And if you've ever watched skate practice, it's like they're doing up and back, and their thighs just burn with the lactic acid buildup. And what they're finding is that isn't as intense when they're using our product.
Sure, because people are always trying to figure out how can I recover to get to back to the next workout or game or whatever it is. And getting back to the Hall Pass, one more thing I also read last night, Mike, before you share with us your big news, there's some big news that Mike's going to be telling us about his company. So I'm excited to hear about it in more depth. Is that, I always thought of, because, I've known about this product now ever since you introduced me to it, and I do feel, it does kind of reduce that little bit of headache if you have a cocktail or two, because the reason why you get the headache is because of the dehydration. One of the reasons why you may get the headache is the dehydration that you get from drinking alcohol. But it said taking 4 capsules before bed, but 4 capsules even before you go out. Have you ever tried it in that respect?
I absolutely have.
Yeah?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I didn't know that till I read the questions, and so I was like, oh, well, that's actually probably might even help even in the grander scheme of things.
It kind of sets your system up in the right way. I mean, I'm not promoting going out and drinking, but I'm not a purist.
No, not from that perspective.
But certainly, if I know that I'm going to go out and it's going to be 3, 4, 5 hours out with friends.
Yeah, I did it twice this weekend. I have some, and I don't even do it that often, but I have family in from town, and we've been celebrating, and we've been also working really hard with, in terms of we did a big family function and cooking and prepping and stuff. But then finally we were like, let's go do a little dancing.
Sure.
And we had a couple cocktails, and I felt it Saturday morning. I felt it between not sleeping enough and not normally drinking. So when I have 2, 3 drinks, my body feels it very easily.
Sure.
I don't have a high tolerance. So that's just me and my confessions. So, so Mike, what is happening with 7.2?
Well, it's
you've kept me in the dark for the past month and a half.
The long and the short of it is, when we started this company 6 years ago, the idea of it was to get this product into millions of people's hands around the world, so that at least one time a day they can get something that's going to be beneficial to their body, that their body doesn't have to fix. Because everything we're taking in, our body's constantly dealing with, oh, that's not exactly right, I have to fix it. And we've always been looking for people that happen to be looking for us. So it's kind of a unique synergy that way. Well, there's actually a company that's been out there since 2005, and they were going down the road with nutrition. They were looking at, how do we create something plant-based? How do we create something organic, non-GMO? All the things that we're trending towards, because people are starting to get educated that the more organic I can eat, the more plant-based I can eat, the better off I'm going to be. And this company, with a lot of research, was well down the path. Well, I have a good friend of mine that worked there. I introduced me to the owner. It's about 3.5 months ago. And he said, hey, congratulations with your company. Long and the short of it is, before you knew it, he wanted to actually find a way that we could create a partnership. So we have absolutely merged with the company. That company is called Secret Direct. So now I'm a secret agent. That's what the people that work with the company are.
007.
Hey. Fits.
Okay, so, all right. So what is your role within the 7.2 organization?
My role has, I've been basically an international VP for the company, international field VP. So what I've done for the last 6 years was go out there, build and develop sales teams to create distribution of our product. That's how we do it. The days of brick and mortar are going away. We can see that with retail shutting down, 1,600 Toys R Us shutting down, Sears are shutting down, Walmarts are shutting down. They're closing stores. People don't want to have to go drive somewhere to get something. It's the click and order. That's Amazon. I'm sure you've shopped there. I know most people have Prime because they get free shipping. So knowing that, this company that we're merging with did $1 billion in retail sales. Okay. Even before they went into our field of that relationship marketing, $1 billion in retail sales.
And what does Secret do? What type of products do they have?
Well, what's unique about them is they are the largest and foremost leader in the world with bringing the great Dead Sea minerals into skincare products.
Okay.
So whether it's hair care, body care, skin care, they have a product for it. It's in the upper echelon of products, but it's a very convenient price. But it has the most scientific breakthrough. See, when somebody wants to go out there, most people use some type of skincare product. They're washing their hair, they're using soap, right? So people are doing that. But are they using something that's the most scientifically proven to work and the most advanced? Or are people still using the 8-track tape or the cassette? If I use that as an analogy.
So basically, what I'm hearing you say is that I know that you've been very proud because you've been part of the foundation, the development of this program.
Absolutely.
With Dr. Cohn, Howard Cohn out in California. Is the inception, the creation of this product.
Absolutely.
You've been involved in this for many years.
Yes.
And I know you've been always very proud of it. And I've actually, have been drawn to it as well. And so I wasn't until just a couple days ago that he finally shared with me, because I'm not involved in the company the way he is. And so what I'm hearing is that you have found your stable company that's wanting to grow. You found another stable company that wants to bring in a nutritional aspect to their company. And so that's a merger.
Yes,
and
it
so
is.
that means that they have vetted you guys.
Absolutely.
And they've been happy with the results. And so, Mike, unfortunately, we don't have a ton of time. Tell us once again, if you want to reach out to Mike and you want to find out about how to be involved in the company, how to receive the product, or how to get to the website. Mike, how do we find you?
Well, you can go to plantbasedph.com. That's the website that will take you to 7.2. Sometime next week, it'll be a different site. So we'll have to, but Plant Based PH will take you there. Or you can reach me at 1-800-994-5361.
Yes. I believe it's 994. Yes, 994. Yes. Give Mike a call. Very fascinating. He's also very passionate about health and wellness. And so thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I want to thank Melanie once again for sharing her story. And we'll be back next week again with Community Connections. Have a great week, everyone.
Are you looking for short-term inpatient rehabilitation or long-term care placement for yourself or a loved one after illness or injury? Whitehall Boca Raton Skilled Nursing and Rehab Facility has served South Florida for over 35 years. With care and oversight from our experienced physicians, Whitehall Boca Raton offers specialized comprehensive nursing and rehab programs in neurological, orthopedic, cardiac, pulmonary, and post-operative surgical care and outpatient therapy provided by our highly experienced nurses and therapists. While recovering, you will receive 24-hour licensed nursing care along with dietary and nutrition services. We accept Medicare and other major insurances. Come see the Whitehall Boca Raton difference. Call 561-392-3000 for more information or to schedule a tour with our admissions team, and we will answer any one of your questions. You can also visit our website at whitehallboca.com. For more information, call 561-392-3000. That's 561-392-3000. Whitehall Boca Raton is committed to provide you with the best medical care.
You've been listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We will be back next Monday from 5 to 6 p.m. with new guests to share about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Did you hear something you liked today on our show? Please contact me, Norma G, at 954-802-2015 or email me at ccnormag@gmail.com. I look forward to helping you expand your business, project, or idea and connect with our community.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were